Hey, it is time for Christmas at Fireball Island. And what do I want for Christmas? I want to play this game. That's right. This game has sat here in the studio, just kind of collecting dust for God, months and months and months. Occasionally I poke at it, but for the most part, it's just kind of gathering stuff around it. It's become like a coral reef of, if you will, of projects that I want to get done. And I realize the reason I'm not finishing it is because I don't have a deadline. I just keep pushing it and pushing it, pushing it. Well, you know what? I'm giving myself a Christmas deadline, and that is I want to play this game on Christmas Day. So that means that we've got to finish it up. So what do we have left to do on Fireball Island? Well, a couple of things. I need to stick the game onto the crate lid. I need to finish the crate lid. I need to finish the wiring. And I need to make some sort of box inside to hold all the parts. I figure that is all that I need to do to get this game to a playable state. One thing I would like to do that we will not tackle in this episode is actually make the legs for the crate. I want to make this into a coffee table, if you will, but we're not going to have time to do that because, well, I mean, it's almost Christmas and, I really want to play this thing. So let's get to it. First thing I want to tackle is the lid itself. So the game lives, it's attached to the lid, the game board is, and I have this plank that I want to be able to take on and off to access the inside, the internals of the game. That's where I'm going to store all the batteries. That's where all the wiring is. I want to be able to get to that. So I'm going to attach this last plank, the plank that we didn't finish last time in the last episode, with magnets. At least that's the hope. So I'm going to countersink some holes in here and in here, glue the magnets in, and hopefully that will do the trick. And I'm also going to drill a little bit of a hole in here so that I can get a little bit of better leverage so I can open and close this, hopefully with a little more ease. And then once I get those holes drilled, I'm going to have to put some tung oil on this. I've got it all on here. I want to match this to that. And then that should be good to go. And I can start gluing. Well, we won't get ahead of ourselves. So let's just work on this and then see how much more we can do today. Okay, I put a little recession in here to make it easier for my finger to grab this and open it up, hopefully. Now I did, I marked it out as you saw, but I'm not gonna inset these magnets. These magnets are just garbage. They're just not strong at all. I'm gonna have to dash to the hardware store and get some rare earth magnets. These just do not have any strength whatsoever. I mean, they might be fine to stick, something onto your fridge, but I don't think they'll hold this on well at all. So, thought I was going to be making stuff, but instead we're going to dash to the hardware store. I'll be back in about a half an hour. All right, I'm back from the hardware store. The magnets, they just didn't have any magnets, so we're going to pivot, and I'm going to use a itty-bitty screw. I've got these little stainless steel screws. I've only got 4 of them, so I'm going to countersink some tiny little divots in the top of this board that I can nest these screws into, and then we can move on to the more fun stuff. I'm using this little tool that it's in place of a drill press, and it lets me use my portable drill as a drill press, and it's great because it keeps me drilling perfectly straight right up and down, and I can set a depth so I can countersink a screw accurately without drilling too large of a hole too deeply into the board. Okay, we are going to move on to the actual lid itself. This part is pretty much all done, but I'm going to take some very, very fine steel wool. This is like the quadruple zero steel wool. And I just want to go over the surface. There's some gloss spots, and I just want to kind of knock that down a little bit before I glue the board on. And once the board is glued on, then we can do the wiring, and then we can put on the hardware, and oh my God, it's coming together. Woo! Okay, yeah, I definitely like it better with the mountain on this edge, and it kind of tapers down into like this little gameplay area, if you will. Deck will sit here, you got your controls. This is the way we're gonna do it. Now, I'm gonna lay down some kind of painter's tape around here to make sure that I don't get glue anywhere I don't want there to be glue, and it'll help me to line up the board. And then we're gonna go for it. The glue that I'm going to try to use for this, I got some, it's like a silicone adhesive. I wanted to have some flex. I was thinking I could just use epoxy, but wood moves this thing. We're gonna be picking it in and out, and I just wanted to have a little bit of flex, a little bit of give. Yeah, and also, if I need to, I might be able to take a scraper in there and pry this off if I ever have to get it off. I hope I don't ever have to do that. Anyway, let's just do this. Okay, I was so nervous about the gluing down of the board that I flubbed this shot, and I thought that I was hitting record when I was already recording. So it's the classic error of I thought I was recording, but instead I actually turned the camera off. So we're just going to pretend I didn't make that big mistake. All right, it's glued down, I think. I don't know. Who knows if I have enough of the silicone adhesive to grab the board in here. We'll find out tomorrow. I'm going to give it overnight to cure, and then we will gently see if we can lift it off of there. And if it seems secure, we will do the dreaded flip it over and see if it falls off test. But that'll, let's just hope it doesn't fall off. Okay, it is 6:30 the next morning. It looks like it's holding really well. Now this said to give it 24 hours to fully cure, so I'm not going to try doing a flip test on it or anything like that just yet, but yeah, it's pretty secure. Anyway, I've got a little bit of time this morning. I'm going to put the side handles on. These handles here will make it much easier for me to open the game and flip it and play the game. I carefully measured and marked the center of the board so that I put this in the exact right spot. Then I used some countersinks to get the screws started. And yeah, there you go. Easy peasy. Sorry about this. This is I'm not filming it really well, but it's Friday afternoon and I had to get this on really quick so that it dries in time, well, that it cures in time for me to work on this tomorrow. I've only got the weekend, so I want to get this out of the way, yeah, in time. All right, guess I should pay attention to what I'm doing. All right, it is Saturday. This is it. This is the weekend before Christmas, and I'm running out of time. Surprise! So I'm going to adjust my expectations for what I can get done in time for Christmas. Yes, I still think I can play Fireball Island on Christmas Day, but I'm just gonna have to not get as much done on the game. So what we're gonna do today, the main goal is we wanna get it soldered, wired, and basically so I can put it all together and play it. I'm not gonna worry too much about making the little nesting drawer for all of the various parts of the game, and I'm not gonna worry about my big Mod Podge plan. What I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to release this video after Christmas, where I'll get another weekend. Hopefully that'll give me enough time to do all those extra little things before releasing this episode. Who knows? I mean, maybe you're watching this and it's all done. Maybe you're not. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about that. What I am gonna worry about is soldering. For today's soldering adventure, we have this acrylic piece that we cut to fit into the board. We've got some micro switches, some wire, and an ancient Radio Shack soldering gun circa 2000 maybe. The micro switches have a little threaded nut that will hold them onto like an acrylic mount. So I'm using this acrylic piece to mount the screws. These are what are to mount the switches. Sorry, that's what's gonna be holding the switches on the game board. I want it to kind of look like faux ivory. That's why we picked this color. Once I've got them all tightened on there with a wrench, it's time to solder the wire onto the backs. The goal is the business end. The yucky wiring will all be hidden inside of the game board, and you'll never see it. Soldering is one of those weird things that I'm not very good at, but I still love to do it. I have like this, I guess it's like a Pavlovian response to soldering. Anytime my dad took out the soldering gun when I was a kid, some sort of cool thing was being made or some sort of weird project. It was always a unique tool, and so I love it. Anytime I take out the soldering gun, I know I'm going to be making something weird and different. Yeah, so I'm not great at it, but I definitely love doing it. I love the smell of solder, which, spoiler, is not really good for you, so make sure you're soldering in a well-ventilated area. Yeah, soldering is always fun for me, even though I've got a really janky old soldering gun, and if you are an electronics professional watching this, look away, because I definitely am not doing the best job, but it'll work. It'll carry those electrons. Very close. Just one more connection. One more, and then we can put this into the board. Let's go stick it in. Holy moly. Okay, here we go. We got the board. It's looking good. This thing seems like it is really, really stuck on there. The silicone glue has set, and I think we're safe to flip this over. So this is where this is gonna live. Let's try to jam it in there. This is the exciting part of the video where I feed the wire through the tabletop of the board and discover, much to my shock, that the wood has expanded. I don't know if it's because it's soaked up the tung oil finish or if it's just that micro layer of tung oil finish, and the acrylic piece no longer really seems to pop into the opening that I custom cut for it. I, of course, attempted to just hammer it in, and when that didn't work, I did a little bit of filing away of some acrylic using a little jeweler's file, and that, in combination with a hammer and a long stick, ended up doing the trick. All right. Well, that is never coming out, and oh man, I hope that I soldered that well. Okay, switch wires, game board wires. It's actually coming together. I got to use some more solder, which is stuff that I love to do, and I'm going to attach basically an interruption between the battery and the LEDs. I'm attaching the switch wire in between that. I had to make sure this all worked, of course, before I committed to the solder, and if you're going to try this at home, I recommend that you double check all your electronics too before you commit to solder. Once everything was soldered up, it was time to attach the batteries to the backside of that plank that we had prepared for the day before. I'm just using Velcro on these so that I can, take these packs off and replace the batteries if I need to, and it'll keep them from rattling around inside the board when we move the game. Okay, I think we are done soldering, and wow, that's pretty exciting. It's lunchtime. My day is almost done on this. This game is just about playable right now. I'm pretty excited about that. The one thing I do want to do today, it's the last thing I'm going to do today, is I have 6 playing guys, little playing characters, but a couple of them are the same color. And I know that the first time I take this game out to play, I want to play it with 6 people. Technically, this game is meant for 4 people, but my Fireball Island guru, Trader Brandon, has told me that 6 people is a lot of fun to play, and it just makes the game longer, which is great. So I need to take a couple of my repeat guys and do a little paint work on them so that while we're playing, we can tell our players apart. But, whew, this is looking great. Let's take it into the studio, the dark side of the studio, and see how it looks. It's heavy. I also want to put the handles on this thing. Yeah, definitely need handles. Okay, are you ready for this? Jewel. Whoop. Lava. Jewel. Ah. It's like magic. Woo. Okay, moving that box around is a nightmare, so I realized I should probably put the handles on it. I'm using some very nice old-looking hemp rope. I don't know if these will be the permanent handles, but I just need to get something on here so I can lug this thing around. Let's do it. This monkey's fist knot, I'm actually recycling. It was kind of a model that I used while researching the Cursed Monkey Fist mug that we did for Hidden Harbor, so it's nice to recycle it, and I will think of it every time I pick up Fireball Island from here on out. I'm using a figure-8 knot as a stopper knot to keep the handle from pulling out from the hole that I drilled into the crate when I put this thing together. Okay, back to those game player characters. As you recall, I've got 6 characters and 2 of them are double colors. I've got 2 yellow ones and 2 blue ones. So I want to see if I can extend this to 6 players by repainting the yellow and the blue doubles. These playing pieces are extremely small and extremely lightweight, so to keep them from just blowing off the table when I try to spray them with paint, I'm putting some of the double stick tape onto these tongue depressors to help adhere the adventurers as they travel through the painting process. And I almost painted the wrong one. I stuck the red one on here. Did you catch that? I hope you were watching closely. We want to paint the yellow one, so I took the red one off, put the yellow one on, and I'm painting the yellow one that is missing an arm, since I figure, this piece is already flawed. It won't matter if I spray paint it. I've got a coat of primer on our 2 new adventure color pieces, and I'm going to be using some rattle spray can. I've got some kind of a safety orange, and then I've got insignia white, which for you Star Wars nerds out there is the color of Star Destroyers. I was worried that the orange was a little too close to the red color, so I kind of did a candy cane pattern on him, just because, it's going to be Christmas. Okay, I've got a little bit more time to work on the game before the big Christmas Day play, and I want to get all of this stuff safely into the box. Now, I bought this. It's like a foam that has all these grids cut out of it that you can kind of tear out things, and I want to nest this inside of the box. And I know that the box is 19.5 inches wide, so I'm going to try to figure out the best way to fit all of this stuff. This is all the game pieces. It's Volcar itself, the cards and the bridges, and just some extra like backup parts, things that I have. Let's try to put it together. This foam was, I'm not going to lie, a lot of fun to work with. The pre-cut grids are kind of like perforated paper, which makes it really easy to just tear it apart in even straight lines. So you just kind of lay all your pieces out. The hardest part was to figure out what order and what kind of orientation I wanted everything. It's like Tetris, but with game pieces. And once I got it figured out, you just pluck out the parts that you don't want there. The hardest part was, I found out, is parts got really thin. If I was only dealing with like one grid of foam, it became a little difficult to not accidentally tear a perforation that I didn't want to tear. All right, I've got it all placed. This foam is a little weird to work with. I would do it differently maybe, or just, I guess I wouldn't rush it so much the next time I do this if I redo the foam. But I think this will be great for now. I'm going to lay this into the game with some double-sided tape for now, which I probably will remove in the future to actually when I want to do the fancy interior. But we're just going to use double-sided tape to just get it to playability for Christmas. This double-sided tape worked so well to hold the foam down. I was thinking of using a spray adhesive. That would have just been an absolute mess. The tape was definitely the way to go, and I think it might not get in the way at all of my future Mod Podge plans, but no time for that for Christmas. Okay, it is in. I don't think it's going anywhere. I think we're ready to play. I'm going to throw the instructions in here. Hopefully the lid will fit, and I'm going to take this to the mountains to play Fireball Island in the snow. After that, hopefully this video will continue, and at which point I will finish the inside of this box and whatever else I can get done before New Year's, when hopefully this video will be released. Yeah, we're not going to be doing any more than what you've really just seen. I know I keep saying I was hoping to do more, getting the legs on it, all this stuff, but I just didn't have time. I cannot wait to play this thing. Woo. And apologies for the absolute disastrous mess in here. We've been really busy, and hopefully I'll be able to tidy things up once all the jungle birds leave the studio. Instructions, very important. Can you believe it? So that's it. I was going to not release this and just try to get the feet done for the table and all that extra stuff, but I realized I would fall into the trap of not releasing videos in the hopes, or just with the fear that I didn't have enough done to show you all. So we're not doing that. I'm just going to release it, and let me tell you, It was so much fun to play the game. It was a perfect way to break in the game. I had a fantastic time. We laughed our heads off. The fireballs were spectacular. I cannot wait to play again. In playing it, I learned there's a lot of things that I want to change on the board. There's some little tweaks and adjustments that I want to make, which I'm very excited about. And hopefully, I will get to that soon in the next episode of Game Relics Fireball Island. Thank you so much for watching, and Happy New Year.